Hi, it's Marcus here, and in this week's update, we are going to be discussing why is now a good time to be getting into the company that bought me my fish pie last night. Delicious. Not only that, we're going to be discussing, and this is all to do with the TikTok IPO that's coming up, one other IPO, initial public offering, that we went into a few weeks back, and we'll show you where we got in and are we in profit right now, and what you can do about it for the next IPO. And last but by no means least, why is a company like Square investing $50 million into Bitcoin and MicroStrategy $425 million into Bitcoin? That's right, companies are now looking to park their money into an asset like Bitcoin rather than have it in a bank. This and much, much more, and you're about to find out, so let's get started. Okay, so the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to have a quick recap on what we discussed last time and see what has happened since that time. So Dennis, we said last time that you were looking from a technical basis, well no, it was a fundamental basis actually at the Nasdaq, right?
Well, both actually, at the end, but yes, a fundamental to start with.
What happened?
So what happened here was, as a trader, there's two different ways of looking at the market. You can do it from a fundamental perspective, look at what is happening, the news, could be the election, or a technical point of view, which means you're reading what's happening in the chart, and you look at the candles of people selling, are they buying, and that is called price action. Just to give you an example. So what I saw was that in the US election, there's so much going on, but they are talking about these stimulus packages, giving people out to the economy to really support it.
Giving what out? So they're giving more money into the economy?
Yeah, they're giving money.
Where does all this money go?
They print it. I don't know. It disappears. Like
goes.
It vaporizes.
Well, it goes into the markets, right? That's what tends to happen. It goes into businesses, etc.
And they give even people money. So
this is pushing it up. So why would you be looking to go down?
Yes, because what happens now is that they're discussing another stimulus package, like the previous ones was not enough. They're discussing more of those, and they could come to an agreement. So since the stimulus packages is driving the market higher, if they can't come to an agreement, the likelihood and probability is that it's going to drive the market lower instead. So because that it couldn't agree, created uncertainty. Uncertainty is in general not good for the stock market. So I waited, I got a couple of green candles, the market went up in anticipation.
Let's have a look. So it's one, so it was at this point here that we saw it last time, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
This was the day we saw it last time. So if you look at the video from the previous week, from last week, you will see that this was where we looked at the market. And then I saw that sellers started to come back to push it lower.
Okay, so you had lots of bulls, and here there's a big fight going on with the bears winning.
Exactly.
Okay, and then what?
And then I shorted, so which means I make money as it goes down.
Okay, what happened?
So what happened was, which is very exciting.
Did it go up? Because I remember thinking that your risk to reward wasn't quite 1 to 3. I was a bit worried about that, and I would have wanted you to get in a little bit higher, but you were right.
Well, yes, in this instance, but at the end of the day,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1 week later, so 5 trading days, as you can see there, it went down, 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 and now, what does that mean? Does that mean that it could go back up again, potentially?
It could mean that it could go back up potentially. This is just the market now, actually. So the US market opens a bit later, but you can trade the indice, which is opened almost 24 hours a day.
Yeah,
so
most people don't know that, right? It closes like for a little bit in the evenings, right?
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's open. And you had your stop loss up here, and you've now what?
I moved my stop loss down to lock in profits.
Did you do it here to your entry point?
No, I've actually done it a little bit in profit.
So you've already locked in a couple of % here.
Exactly.
That is awesome. So let's see what happens to that over the next few weeks. Okay, so what's next? I think last time we also talked about Boeing. Okay, Boeing, we said, wow, in terms of leisure, that's going to be a real problem when people aren't buying planes anymore. We were at this point last time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we were basically waiting for it to come back up here because that was already too low. Now, now is a really good entry point if you were looking to short this, because it's gone exactly what we wanted it to do, gone back to the line here, it's dipped a little bit below, so you might have gotten in, but then it came back up again. So now is a perfect entry point. Make sure when you're trading you put your stop loss in. We love stop losses when we are trading, Dennis, yes?
Yes, we are, and we use your famous buffalo strategy when we're doing this as well.
Absolutely. This is the vertically falling buffalo here. And we would be putting our stop loss just above here, although I would probably put it above here just because it's so close. You might as well include that as well. And if that's the case, you're getting in at this point here with a stop loss here. This is your 1% risk on your entire portfolio, which means you've got 1, 2, you've got about 3% to make there. And a 3-to-1 ratio is the absolute minimum that we are willing to do. What else did we talk about there?
Yeah, and just one thing I want to add here is, as a trader, you look at probabilities. That's what we're looking at. So the reason we're shorting airlines, we spoke about that last time as well, is because fundamentally they're not very strong at the moment. They're making losses, they're cutting people off.
Well, that's quite interesting, since we're just about to look at an airline you bought into, Dennis.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's look at the next one here. We talked about Weatherspoon as well, right? And what we said, look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days ago when we had it, we said, it's going to be weak for them, this announcement, so therefore, we are looking to sell short. But we actually said we wanted it to go up a little bit more, although we also mentioned that you could do 2 positions, right? You could do half here, and if it came back to here, then you could do the other half. Well, guess what? Went down 19% in that time. So congratulations for those of you who did short. Now, some people might want to get in now, Dennis, but I personally wouldn't want to do that. I think this fundamentally, with a lockdown or potential lockdown, is going to be very weak indeed. Okay, what have we got next? All right, so we're still looking at Whitbread is something that we looked at here as well, and we were again saying that for the leisure sector, it's not going to be good at all. And this is what happened: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in the evening, look, this is what happened. This one came, and then the next day it gapped down. So it had a massive fall. I mean, that would have been quite a good little trade there. We didn't get in because we're looking to get in at the highest price we possibly can.
And you could be thinking here, well, if you're saying that these are not doing very well, why are they going up? Why do we see that they fluctuate, go up and down, like 10% up, 10% down, 10% up, and then more down?
That's the market.
That is the market, exactly, because it is buyers and sellers.
Yeah.
There's a buyer for every seller.
Yeah.
So even though the longer trend might be down, it's still going to go up and down.
And that's where we take advantage, right? And that's why we don't get in at some random point here, although yes, you would have made money. Hey, maybe they were watching our channel, I don't know. But in actual fact, we are waiting to get into the best possible price. There's so many opportunities out there. Let's have a look at another one. All right, and I think this could be the final one to look at, because it's funny, he just said, airlines. And I agree, airlines not good right now, but you did say that you were at around 60 cents and that you were looking to get into this. Remember, Norwegian Airlines, so we don't think it's going to go to zero because it represents Norway, and you never guess what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is where we said it 1 week ago, so 5 trading days, and it's gone up 12%, actually a little bit more than 12%. So congratulations, Dennis, on 12%. But don't get in right now. Don't say, oh, it's going up right now. That one's gone. Wait for it to come back down if you were speculating, because that's what this is.
It is speculation, I agree. And you might say, well, why did you get into this then if we think that the airlines is not a good investment? Well, the reason I got into this is because it's down over 97% from the highest point. Now, the question I'm asking myself is, well, even though it's terrible, the airline industry is going down a lot, the airlines are going to survive. They're probably going to do really well. And even though it's going bad for them, can it justify a 97% drop? So
yeah, but you would have said that at 90, you would have said that at 80, you would have said that at 70. So this is pure speculation, and that's why Dennis maybe put in, he's been in several times to get in an average price, but hundreds. We're not talking about thousands of pounds here, it's hundreds. Right, okay, so that, I believe, was the wrap-up or the summary of what we discussed last time. So let's now look at what we're going to discuss in this week's update. Okay, so let's have a look at OKADA, the OKADA group. I remember when this went public, I mean, the shares just went down, okay? But what they basically did is they've been doing extremely well because, of course, they supply Waitrose to my house. That's right, they're like a logistics service, supplying food and drink to, you've seen the OKADA vans, you've seen the Tesco vans, you've seen the Sainsbury's vans. OKADA does that. But the reason I like it is because they have struck a deal with Marks and Spencer's that have really, really good food. And in fact, I had my first Marks and Spencer's fish pie the other day, and I loved it, you know. And I don't know whether it costs more or not. You think it does with Marks and Spencer, but I don't care. It was good, you know. That and a packet of spinach, which I lightly steamed beforehand. But anyway, we digress. So that's why I like OKADA. And they've been doing extremely well, of course, as people have not been going out to restaurants, which is why we want to short restaurants. But they've been doing extremely well. And Dennis, their stock just flew, didn't it, over the last few months, and even earlier, right? Has absolutely flown, but has now come down. And with our vertical buffalo, we can see 1, 2, 3, and now it's on the 4th bounce, kind of going all over the place here. The entry point actually would have been just above here, so you probably would have gotten in on this day here, okay? If you would have missed that, well, you would have been in, right? But would have been above here. It's a little bit high now, maybe 1 or 2% high. We try not to chase the stock, Dennis, right?
Absolutely.
We try not to chase the stock.
Patience.
So wait for it to come down. If it doesn't, this one's gone. But otherwise, do try and get in. And then, where would our stop loss be? At the lowest possible point. So around here is our 1, which gives us 1, 2, almost 3%. It has to be 3% or more, right? If it's 2.5, Dennis, do we get in?
No.
If it's 2.9, do we get in there?
No.
That's interesting. Maybe, you know. So yeah, exactly.
But the one thing to add as well is you might think, well, a stock market crash or this is very bad for everything, but there's always going to be opportunities. So when we had the COVID and everything was going down, well, OKADA Group, together with a handful of other companies, was actually going up. So if you know where to look, which we really help people with, to find where to look, what industries, what sectors, because in fact, during crisis, the biggest opportunities appear.
Biggest opportunities, why it's so important for you to subscribe. Make sure that you do get these updates. Okay, very, very important, especially because we think there's another crash around the corner. There has to be. There's too much of a divergence here between the stock markets going up and all this money being pumped in, Dennis. There absolutely has to be a correction. Okay, so that is the OKADA Group. Next. Yes, okay, so this is over to you because this one here, the Seafarer of Pharmaceuticals, I've never heard of it, but from a technical point of view, actually, so before with the NASDAQ 100, you had a fundamental point of view with a stimulus, and then you looked at the technicals.
Yes.
Here, if you look at the technicals going down, and he's drawn a line here between this side, and this side, and if it now goes below, then that can count as a 3rd bounce. He's drawn the lines here, and you can see the risk reward is a nice, I would say a nice 1, 2, 3, and it's got to be a minimum 1, 2, 3. So what is it that you like about this?
So what I like about this is, first and foremost, we look at, we have this stock screener. I don't know if you heard about that, but instead I don't want to look at 7,000 stocks. So you can actually screen down, so you get like 10 to look at instead of 7,000.
Absolutely.
Which is something we also do in our advanced workshop. But what I liked about this, so instead of finding news, I found a technical reason, according to our strategy, to get in. And then what I did, just to get the probability even higher, I looked at the fundamentals.
So what do you think? If Dennis is shorting this in this market, do you think he's looking for the best company in the world, the ones with, you know, increasing sales, increasing profits, increasing margins, less debt, or do you think he's looking at the worst company he possibly can? Let's ask Dennis. Dennis, what are you looking for?
Absolutely the worst companies.
The worst companies,
Absolutely.
right? And if you were buying, you'd be looking for the best companies. And here you're just looking for anything that stinks, and there's lots here that stinks with the Seafarer Pharmaceuticals. So, for example, here the income minus 263 million. Oh, that doesn't sound good.
No.
Okay. Now, normally, you know, you can see the reds. The reds immediately kind of. Can you see any reds there? So, for example, here minus 58% earnings per share this year. That doesn't sound good. Sales quarter on quarter minus 71%. That doesn't sound good. Earnings per share quarter on quarter, minus return on assets, return on equity, return on investments. So that, but they're not managing their money very well. They're not managing their money. By the way, insider transactions, people are selling. People are selling within the company, okay? But have a look back at the slide just very, very quickly. You'd expect this stock to be going down, right? The stock market isn't like that. Yes, overall it's going down because fundamentally it's not doing very well. But in the short term, people have hope, which is good for us and it's good for you, because what it means is that it's gone up quite a lot, in fact, quite a lot, and it's at this point here ready for us to short. Now, I am going to put an order here. We're going to put an order in at 1% below here. Okay, which means our stop loss would be here. That's our 1. Well, actually, you drew it already. Well done. So this is our 1%. And but what would be really cool, and I don't know whether this is going to happen today, right? If this jumps up to around here and closes, then we could put it 1% below that low, and therefore our ratios change, because now this is going to be our 1%, which means, yeah, so our ratio is going to be like this, which means that when we have 1, 2, 3, 4 to 1 ratio, which is even better, Dennis, than a 3 to 1 ratio, okay?
Absolutely, a lot better.
So if that happens.
And is this a guarantee that it will go down? Even though we have the bad fundamentals, it looks like it should go down, it's not a guarantee. We could still be wrong. It could still go higher, even though it does not make sense in the short term.
So what do we need 100% when we are trading, Dennis?
A stop loss, something that stops our losses.
Absolutely, an electronic order, which we're going to put up there, because that's what the technicals show us, corroborated by the fundamentals. Okay, what do you think? Comment below and see what you think about a stock like this. You know, do you think it's going to go down? Do you think it's going to go up? And are you going to get in? See, that's the thing. Knowing what to do and actually doing it, two different things. Comments below and let me know what you think. Wonderful. That is the Seafarer Pharmaceuticals. Next, let us have a look at, yes, we talked about IPOs. We are so excited because, of course, the TikTok, actually I did another TikTok the other day, something about bunnies or something. The kids were getting me to do this thing here.
Oh, you don't do when you eat fish pie?
Or fish pie. Yeah, I should do one, fish pie. Anyway, and we said that we are going to look at the IPO as and when it comes up, and we're going to be trading it, and we're going to be showing you what it is that we're doing. To prepare for that, we thought we'd look at, do you remember when I said to you that Keith, our resident IPO expert, he's in the room next door right now, you know, what has he been doing over the last few days with Snowflake, which was a recent IPO. Remember, IPO, initial public offering, when these private companies go public. And generally we're waiting for a 4 before we get in. That's just what we like. We never like to get in at the top. But what actually happened, yes, it did fall a little bit, but then it just zoomed up. Okay, it did extremely well. I mean, how much? What do you think? From this point here, it opened up here.
It went up 25%.
Yeah, or a little bit more even. It went absolutely ballistic like that, right? And then came down. Now, as soon as it hits this high here, that actually gives us our first entry point. We have a certain percentage that we get in on, which we do, and that would have been our first entry point. And then it could go up, but instead it went down again, giving us, and we have exact percentages where we get in. So we know in advance. And why is that so important that we know in advance, not that we're like...
Well, the major thing for me is then I can't act on emotions, because if you see this happening, many people get in up here, because it's just going to continue to go up, right?
And you never chase a stock. And that's what they did. And now what? Hopefully they got out, but I don't think they did, right? Because once it starts coming down, everybody's trying to sell. There are no buyers to sell to, right? So anyway, it's a shame when people do that. But you need strategies, and that is why it is so important for you also to keep looking at these videos, so that we're going to give you the strategies, we're going to give you the things that we're looking at. Now, if you would have gotten in here, then our average price would have been around here. Now you might say, Marcus, were you drunk when you drew this line? It should be in the middle of those two. They would be right.
They would be right.
Not about the drinking. But that it should be in the middle. But the fact that we put a little bit more money in, so that not only are you getting in at a lower price, you're actually getting in with more money at a lower price, which brings down our average price even more. So it actually would have been at this point here. And by the way, from this point here to around here is 20%. So Keith should have gone out with a 20% gain. I hope he's listening here. But for whatever reason he didn't, okay, I don't know why he didn't, but he's up 7% from now. For me, Keith, if you're looking at this video, get out now. You've missed it. You know, it's great. Don't try and milk it too much. 7% is absolutely fantastic. And it's going sideways right now. This is a top. I think it might go down. So lock in 7%. You should have had 20.
And one thing to add there as well, the reason this could work out so well in the beginning is because no one knows what the right price is.
Right.
So it's just going to go
That's why
up
there's so
and
much
down,
volatility.
up and down, yeah.
Right? Because there's uncertainty in the market.
Exactly. But now, when it's been a couple of weeks, then it's starting to form support and resistance.
So it's supposed to be at this level. So now people are coming to a consensus that it should be around this area. Should be around this area, should be around this area, should be around this area. And then it's going to start doing whatever it does. Okay?
But it's not Keith's first year. It's very important to highlight. And another thing to highlight is you can actually do all this on a demo account where you don't risk any of your own money. So if you want to try, maybe you want to try to place an order on the last one we did, or maybe on this one, you could do it on a demo account where you don't even use your own money. It's like playing Monopoly.
Well, okay, but if they do it on a demo account now, they're not following any strategy at all, right?
Yeah, no, not at this point, but when you are. So make sure you
TikTok.
learn.
So when we do the TikTok, right? So when maybe you want to open up a demo account and follow as we do it.
Yeah.
That would be a good idea. Hey, comment below. Are you looking for? Did you get into Snowflake? Did you manage to get it or not? Did you miss this one? Are you looking forward to getting into the next big IPO? There's probably another one before TikTok that we can talk about as well. So are you going to join us on a demo account?
Absolutely.
Just to practice, or you could do it with your finger just to see what happens. The point is to get involved. Okay.
And another one is Airbnb. Actually, they haven't really announced a date, but that's an exciting one as well.
You're excited about that.
I'm a bit excited about Airbnb,
especially in the coronavirus where nobody's using them.
Exactly.
Are you excited about that?
Yes, because what is going to happen with the valuation potentially is probably going to be quite low. Maybe.
I don't know about that. The way I look at things like this is that by the time it gets the public, you've got all the institutions, you've got all the investment bankers that, you know, they're trying to make money for their clients and they're trying to do it at the highest possible price. That's why it normally drops. Because all these people are taking their profit. They've made. By the way, they invested down here. You do realize that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we get what? We get the bones. You know, they're chomping on the fine cuts, and we get the bones. But we can still make money. That's the good thing about it. Even though they've made hundreds of percent, we can still make a quick 10 to 20%. Okay. So comment below. Let's see what you think about that. One more thing, actually, we forgot. We've got one more topic we want to discuss. Dennis, if you would, please. Yes. So we have got two major companies like Square, for example, the payment provider, and also we have, what's the other one?
MicroStrategy.
MicroStrategy. Now, Square has invested 50 million of its spare cash into Bitcoin, and MicroStrategy invested several times. I think it was 125,000, then another 100, but they've now brought it up to $425 million into Bitcoin. Now, even JP Morgan has said that this does show real confidence in this asset class. So now even like we you know, institutions are getting in, family offices are getting, definitely we're getting in, but now businesses are saying, you know, we've got all this cash from our profits, where do we keep it? Do we keep it in the bank?
Actually, there's been some Scandinavian companies saying that as well. They're too afraid to keep it kind of in currencies like dollars, euros. Like, where would they keep it? So they're actually buying into Bitcoin as well.
Yeah.
And another reason for that is they can liquidate these assets whenever they want. So if they want to sell their Bitcoin, they can do it right away.
Boom, just like that. But is now a good time to be getting into Bitcoin, Dennis?
No.
In one word, no.
I think it's a little bit too high because the market goes up and down. So we, as investors and traders with strategies, we wait for the right moment to enter. So what I would wait for is around the highest point here. So I would probably wait until it finds some kind of support, which means like the floor here, right? That's the support level where where we know that the price has been before. So down here we have a support level. People are looking at it as a level where if the price comes down, they're going to have buy orders ready.
Yeah, but don't wait right until this low. It's not going to go right to this point here, right? So but at around just above the 10,000, I think is a good time to get in. But right now does seem a little bit high. But what about Ethereum? Would that be something we could get into?
Soon.
See, Ethereum, remember, is much faster, is much cheaper than Bitcoin, and it does more, right? Because it has smart contracts. And what about this? This one is a little bit lower, okay, from its high, but it's still a little bit high, Dennis.
It is a bit high. It is a bit high.
Maybe at 320, maybe around here. It doesn't. Again, don't wait for it to come right down here, but maybe at around the 320 mark, $320, right?
But remember, as a first entry, I wouldn't put all my money in then. Absolutely not. Wait, a first entry, great, and then you enter maybe if it falls more. What if it could go down to $100 again? Who knows?
Yes, let's hope so.
We would love that.
Yes.
Most people wouldn't.
Everybody would hate that.
Yeah, because everybody's fully invested, but we are not. We wait, and we will invest as it goes lower.
See, what people don't know is that behind the camera is John, our resident Ethereum expert, right? Now, John, do you want Ethereum to be going up right now or to be coming down?
To definitely come down.
Come down, I agree, come down, absolutely.
And we would love to hear what you think. Do you want Ethereum to go up or down? What do you think? Comment below, and so that would be interesting, depending on what strategy.
Well, honestly, do you want it to go up? Because you might be holding it, so you want it to go up. And maybe you want it to come down just so you can buy some more, maybe?
Or maybe you're not in yet, right? So if you're not in...
Oh, then you definitely...
Right? And we are using it, like Coinbase is the biggest one. We have Binance is one of the biggest ones.
The exchanges, you mean?
The exchanges, exactly.
Okay, so make sure that you do start setting up your exchanges. Obviously, these aren't recommendations. They're just what we use. I mean, I started up with Gemini in the States. But now I think Coinbase Pro... Binance, they're so easy to set up now, so simple. And that's the point. The infrastructure is being built. Every week there's another little widget, there's another little thing that's being added. So much easier now. So there you go. For me, if I had a choice between Bitcoin and Ethereum, for me personally, it would be, all right, you say what you think, I'll say what I think after 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ethereum.
I knew it.
He copied me there.
Yeah,
that's good.
Well, what is the reason for you? Why do you think that?
Because there is an upgrade of Ethereum coming at the end of the year, actually around November time, so very, very soon. So it's going to be Ethereum 2.0, but also because there are so many applications being built on top. And what is the current buzzword right now, Dennis?
For what?
For Ethereum. On being the applications that are being built on top.
Oh, the internet, like the supercomputer, the internet 2.0.
Oh, right. I was more thinking about DeFi, right? That's the super buzzword right now. And by the way, that's decentralized, because it's all decentralized.
Yeah, exactly.
Decentralized finance, right? DeFi.
So you can actually, instead of having your savings at the bank, which by the way is going down, so you need to pay the bank to keep your money there. You can actually keep them in a crypto bank if you like. And you can get interest for that. That's one option. You can lend your money to someone else and they pay you interest. It's a decentralized way and a more accessible way for us, right, the general public, to get involved in the finance sector, which is very exciting.
And where are most of the applications being built?
On Ethereum.
Aha! And why do you like Ethereum?
Well, I like Ethereum for that reason, that most applications are being built on it.
And
it's the one that is the most used. And another reason, which is very exciting, that I think is that the bigger companies like Microsoft, you have Google, they are actually using Ethereum to build applications to try and dip their feet and toes, because believe us, they are, to dip their toes in the crypto world and try the blockchain. How can they improve their businesses?
You don't have to believe us. That is what's happening, right?
Yeah, exactly. That is what's happening. That's what Google it. That's what's happening. Exactly.
Believe us. Believe them, because that's what they are doing. So brilliant. So that is what's currently happening in the crypto world. So what did you think? Are you looking to get into OKADA? And do you think it's a good idea that they have hooked up with Marks and Spencer's? I certainly do. Not only that, are you looking forward to the TikTok IPO? And you need to set up an account and get ready for that. So make sure that you do comment below, especially about things like Bitcoin. Are you set up to get into Bitcoin, or do you prefer Ethereum? Because if companies like Square and MicroStrategy getting in, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for us. So comment below, let's get a discussion going, and make sure that you do hit that subscribe button, because we're going to be sending this type of quality content to you every single week so that you can act on it and make money. And by the way, if you did like this week's video, do make sure that you hit that like button. I look forward to seeing you on the next week's video.